So let me ask you this. Do we know that people are insider trading on these platforms? Is it a hunch? Is it stuff that is on Reddit forums? What are you hearing?
Yeah. It's a little bit of a hunch in the sense of I don't think anyone has come out and confessed that they're insider trading. What we
Yeah.
can see is a pattern of betting activity that looks suspiciously good. It looks like someone seemed to have knowledge in advance of some event, some announcement that a company was going to make.
Give us an example. Give us an
Yeah, for
example.
example, there was an account that made about $1 million betting over the course of a day on what the top searches would be in Google's 2025 search data, which they announce at the end of the year. And this person bet correctly on 22 out of the 23 questions. Now, these are questions with a lot of possible answers and a lot of uncertainty around them. So this was a track record that looked sort of too good to be true. Like if you were just betting by chance with the amount of knowledge that a normal person has, you'd be very unlikely to do this well. So that raised some red flags. Other sort of red flags are when people put a lot of money into a market all at once, and then they tend to be very successful. They tend to put money in right before the actual announcement happens, as if someone had tipped them off right before the announcement went out. And they
Right.
tend to be very successful betting on the same company or cluster of companies over and over again.
So have regulators or has the company clamped down on any of this, if in fact it's true?
Yeah. So regulators have been somewhat silent on the topic. And as a result, the burden has fallen to the companies to figure out what to do about this. So, in terms of the regulators, these markets are not securities. So, the SEC, which is often the one that we think of when we hear about cases of insider trading, is not really the one that's responsible in these cases.
Hmm.
The CFTC, which does regulate Kalshi and soon will regulate a US entity for Polymarket, does do some amount of work on insider trading. And similarly, you could imagine the DOJ getting involved in certain cases. But
Right.
for federal agencies to pursue cases like this, you would have to have an administration that was making them feel very emboldened. This is the way
Yeah.
lawyers were putting it to me. You'd have to have an environment where the government was feeling creative and feeling like it did want to broaden the law and set new precedents. And we haven't really seen that in the past year. Some people are telling me they think it's unlikely we'll see that in the next few years. So it remains kind of a regulatory gray area. So it falls to the companies, meaning Kalshi, Polymarket, to enforce, sort of surveillance, sort of monitoring for insider trading on their platforms.
So if I'm reading your prediction correctly about these prediction markets, it's that nothing is really going to change, at least in the near future, about this, and there will just continue to be these suspiciously successful trades, I guess.
I think we'll see some of it. Kalshi in particular does sort of seek out insider traders. They have automated systems to monitor the sort of pattern of behavior of its traders. It also relies on other traders to kind of tattletale and point out this kind of suspicious activity. And then
Hmm.
they investigate a handful of accounts every quarter. This is what their compliance people are telling me, is they do sort of have actual interviews with traders that seem like they might be insiders. And in the event that someone does seem to be insider trading, they can either suspend the account temporarily or permanently, and even refer them to the authorities, who might be the CFTC in this case.
And did the companies tell you that they have referred anyone to the authorities or
They
found?
did say, yeah.
Right. Well, I don't know. This is one of the stories that it's just, it's hard to know how fast things are going to move, but
Right.
it's certainly one that is important to bring to our attention. And so it was a great piece.
I'll say also, some people defend insider trading on prediction markets. I think that's another thing that makes it a little different from the typical territory with securities in the stock market. Some people say, well, the purpose of prediction markets is to give the public a sense of what's going on. If insiders make those markets more accurate at predicting the future, so much the better. That's a public service. And some prediction markets go so far to encourage insiders that, I can make a prediction market, say on Manifold, which uses play money, not real money, but I can make a prediction market about what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. Obviously, I'm an insider in that market. And not only do I have knowledge about what's going to happen, I can
Yeah.
make it happen, and I can bet in my own market. But nonetheless, it seems like Manifold markets are like pretty active.
Well, yeah, but that seems like a bit of a slippery slope because you could make the same argument for stocks and saying if you have a big, somebody who has inside knowledge of a stock that's about to go south they're doing a public service. I mean,
Right.
I don't know. This seems
Absolutely.
like
Absolutely. And so then the legal theory of fraud is not that, you're harming the public by insider trading. It's often that you're harming the company. You're taking information that wasn't yours to profit off of, confidential information, and then you're using it for your own benefit. And that's sort of where the damages come into play in some legal theories of fraud. Similarly, in prediction markets, that's why we're seeing companies increasingly tell their employees, you are not allowed to insider trade in prediction.
right.